What up, guys? It's me, Jules, here with Ben from What Culture.
Hello.
And we've got a brand new review just for you, because Ben has been playing, and I'm going to butcher the name, Yonder and the Cloud Catcher of the Dream Snatcher.
That's pretty close, actually.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yonder, the Cloud Catcher Chronicles.
Excellent.
What is that game? I've never heard of that.
What's it on, first of all?
Well, it's on PS4 and Steam, I think. Maybe on Xbox One? I don't know. It was reviewed on PlayStation 4. If you've never heard of this game, that's fine. I hadn't heard of it until last week.
I hadn't heard of it until I saw you playing it.
And I saw some footage of it. I saw PlayStation tweet, hey, this game's coming out tomorrow. And I was like, wow, I like the look of that. Look at it. Look at it. Ooh. Oh boy.
Kind of like a Breath of the Wild vibe.
Yeah,
going
exactly.
on.
It's got an amazing art style. It was sort of like a Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon, Wind Waker type thing going on. I was like, that looks really interesting.
You've just listed pretty much 3 of your favourite games, haven't you, with that?
Well, I never really played Wind Waker, but
Stardew Valley, he's got like 200 hours?
Something like that. It's disgusting. Yeah.
But anyway, Ben's been reviewing this game, so let's start off how we usually do with give us that hot fact review.
Score.
It.
That's what you were looking for.
Yeah.
I'm giving Yonder, the Cloud Catcher Chronicles, bearing in mind how much I just talked it up, 3 stars.
Ooh, okay, so that means that there are some issues. So let's dive in head first into the block of ice that is this review. Let's start with presentation.
Narrative.
Let's start with narrative.
We're doing it.
So, what's the actual story behind Yonder and the Crispy Chronicles?
It's very simple. I should point out at this stage that the game was actually made by 3 people.
Oh, for real?
Which is really impressive.
That was made by 3 people? That's pretty impressive.
Now, the narrative, there is one. It's very loose. You wake up on a mystical island.
Cool.
In a cave. Very, very reminiscent from the start of Breath of the Wild. And you know the little... what's he got? The parachute thing that lets him glide?
Oh yeah, the knapsack thing.
Right. If you jump off from certain heights in this game, you have an umbrella that you
Cool.
float down with.
Oh.
So yeah, there's some real crossover there of things, and lots of people were picking holes in it. I was like, it's made by 3 people. I'm gonna let that slide.
Yeah. God.
Until I played it, and I was like, okay, it's clearly been made by 3 people.
Okay.
But yeah, the narrative is basically you arrive on this island and there's evil murk everywhere.
Oh, dang.
Which is purple ooze that you need to get rid of, and you collect these sprites type things. They're little pixies, fairy things. I don't know what they're kind of like Pokemon. But
cool.
you don't battle them, you don't train them, you just collect them.
I feel like Pokemon would oversold it a bit then.
Right, exactly. Like if Pokemon were just cuddly toys that they just hid on shelves.
Just animals.
Exactly.
Right,
that you just put in your bag and didn't do anything with.
God damn.
Wow, that looks nice in the menu.
Cool.
And once you have a certain amount of those, you can clear the murk and stuff. And the main aim is to go and repair the dream. I assume it's the dream catcher, right? Cloud catcher.
Okay.
Not the dream catcher.
No.
I played this game a lot. The cloud catcher to save the island and clear it of the murk and all the stuff that's seeping through. And you go around and you talk to the people and they go because they don't have voice acting. It's all very Wind Wakery.
Cool.
Where the text comes up, and they send you on a wild goose chase to go and get the stuff. It sets itself up, as I said, like a Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon type adventure because there are animals. You can mine resources. You can chop down trees and all that sort of stuff. But it's not any of those. It's sort of a weird hybrid of the 3, but diluted down to an almost unrecognizable level, which made me quite sad, really. And it sounds like I'm ragging on it, and maybe people think that I gave it too high of a review score, but it is a very functional game, and some people will really enjoy it, but for me, it wasn't quite what I wanted.
So, I mean, so the narrative is very basic, but there's enough to keep you sort of going. I mean, how many hours have you sunk into this so far?
To finish the game itself, we'll talk about it more in gameplay, but to finish the game itself, I would have thought like maybe 8 hours, only just on the basis that there's a lot of fetch quest stuff in this game, and a lot of the murk that's blocking your path that you require a certain amount of sprites to recover will not be passable because you don't have enough sprites, so you'll have to go the long way round, and then you'll bump into other people in order to proceed, blah blah blah, and it's like it's very video gamey, so that can wear thin.
Should we jump into gameplay then?
Let's do it.
From what you've described, it sounds like it's quite basic and quite reliant on tropes. Like, the fetch quest is the standard for most sort of RPG questing things.
Yeah.
So
you can get tools.
Okay.
You get tools. You got a hammer to smack up rocks and get rocks and stuff. You got an axe to cut down trees. You got a fishing rod to get fish. It's when you start off, it's lovely. We'll talk about this in the presentation. It looks beautiful. It's got lovely uplifting music. It's all cutesy with its art style and stuff. And you're going around, you're fishing and helping the villagers. And the villagers are like, I need 5 bits of wood. And you're like, here's 5 bits of wood. And then as soon as you leave that place, there are various other biomes like Minecraft.
Yep.
So there's a deserty one, there's a frozen one. And when you get there, you basically just get the same quests but harder, and they want you to go further. And there's no fast travel, there's no vehicles, nothing. You've just got to run everywhere, and it gets very tedious.
See, that always annoyed me about RPG questing. Like you say, it's just the same quest but more and far further apart.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you said it was made by 3 people, so can you cut them some slack?
That's the thing. It's forgivable when you think there's 3 people involved. You think that's actually really impressive, but that doesn't mean that you have to like it.
No, that's very true.
That's where I'm coming from. It doesn't mean that it's bad because they didn't do good enough.
Okay.
It just means that I do not enjoy what they managed to do.
So there's quite a few different, obviously, activities to do, but they all revolve around sort of clearing the murk.
Yes.
Once that's done, I guess there's no replayability?
Well, there's loads of other stuff always ticking over in the meantime as well, because there's a crafting system too. Okay. That you use to make stuff and things. But the really annoying part of that is there was a quest that said, hey, you need to get a specific item that you can only craft. I'm like, okay, I've got most of those ingredients. And then there was one ingredient I didn't have, and it was something like a brewer's kit. I was like, I don't know where the brewer's kit is. I don't know where I would get one of those, and I feel like it's a failure in the game if I have to Google where to go and find one of those. And I don't want to run around aimlessly because it's not somewhere that I recognise having been where I could get a brewer's kit. Yeah. I don't know what I'm meant to do, and that's not fun. But there's loads of stuff ticking over as well in the background, like someone's lost her cats. So every so often you'll hear a meow. You'll be like, oh, there's a cat nearby, and there'll be a little cat. You press X and you just pick it up. It goes in your inventory and it says, oh,
you should just shove it in your backpack.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
5 out of 6 of the cats in the grasslands have been found. You're like,
how many cats does she have?
Oh, she's got like 55 according to the trophy.
And she lost them all?
All of them. Every single one. On every corner of this little island as well.
I mean, that pangs of, there's something fishier going on there. I mean, cats usually come back to be fed, so I mean...
She's done something bad.
Domestic cat abuse.
Possibly. You heard it here first. But that ticks over, and then you go into the deserty biome and you find another cat and it says, 1 out of 7 found in the desert. And I'm like,
grown.
Oh God, it's going to be in every single one. So 4 out of 10 of the murk cleared in the icy plains. I'm like,
So basically it's a battle of percentages. You're constantly looking at this going, I have X amount more to go.
It's just fulfilling a checklist, basically, which is really annoying. And then obviously there's the farm aspect. I was like, oh cool, you can do a farm and stuff, but it's not what you think. Right. On each biome, there's sort of like a small plot of land where you can build a shelter for an animal of some kind, and the animals that are around, you can offer them an item from your inventory and they'll follow you, and if they follow you back onto the farm, they'll say, do you want to adopt this animal? You say, yeah, and then it'll just be there, and that'll be it. There's no planting crops as far as I could tell. There's no actual looking after the animal. You can go up and interact with it, and then it'll just be there. God knows where it is. When you were over the other day, I couldn't find that farm. After I was like, no, I think it's over here somewhere. I don't know where it is.
We call it a farm. It was a fence with an archway.
It was a fence. It was a fence with a doorway. Yeah. And then your backpack has limited space, and the amount of crap you pick up all the time. And there's no fast travel, and there are chests on the. There are chests at the actual farm where you can deposit your crap, but you never know what crap you're going to need to craft something because it's also obscure, so you don't know what to throw away. And there's no currency in the game, so you can't just sell it and store it as currency instead. It's just a trade for trade thing. Like, this is worth this amount, and what you want is worth this amount. So you just need to put the appropriate amount of stuff in order to trade with it. And it's...
I mean, it sounds like a game that is trying its hand at many things and has created this kind of like a very, very large but shallow pond, whereas the games it's basing itself off of, like the Stardew Valley's a massive ocean depth sort of stuff, and this one just seems to be skimming along when it probably would have been more concise to put it into a well, a concentrated down.
I would have really liked it if it was just I would have liked it if it was just the grasslands. As I got out of the grasslands, I was like, oh, now I've got to do all of my hard work again. Pretty much exactly the same, but just in a different place that I'm not familiar with, and I don't know. It just screams of being made by 3 people. And I can understand why they were like, right, we've done this. Now we need to give them something to really keep playing. Right. So let's just loop that to that, connect that to that, connect that to that, add this here, make sure you need to do this here and here. And it just...
It's just not always the way,
It's tiring. It's tiring. And it gets very repetitive, unfortunately.
Well, let's talk about something a bit more positive then. The presentation of the game is fantastic, isn't it?
Presentation is lovely. The art style is really nice. I think that's what drew me in the first place. The characters, as I said, don't speak; they just mumble and make noise. But if we're going to go back to being cynical and negative, again,
oh dear,
it does scream of
ooh,
our lights flickering. It does scream. That's the Yonder developers getting mad. It does scream of a budget indie game.
Right.
I've played other games like, I don't know if people are familiar with Rainbow Moon, which was sort of like an isometric top-down RPG thing that I loved to begin with. I was like, this is really cool. I love the whole concept. It's very classic RPG kind of thing. But then just the sound effects and the art style and the UI all felt very cheap, and they were the things, as well as the gameplay, that grated on me the most.
Right.
And I'm almost certain that the UI and font and at least a couple of the sound effects are almost exactly the same as some from Rainbow Moon.
Oh,
and I've checked, they're not on the same engine, but they are so similar that it was like, that's kind of like a weird hangover of not quite being able to put as much money into your game as you want.
It's almost like our Fallout Fake It in 5 thing, having the same theme as the got culture ups and downs thing. Yes, we know that you've stolen our
We said it as well.
sting.
We told them. They didn't change it.
Bastards.
Unbelievable.
Anyway.
But there we go. That's the presentation. I think I'm ready to move on to 3 things you need to know.
3 things you need to know from Ben Potter.
Yeah, so firstly, it's made by 3 people, as discussed, but that doesn't excuse its shortcomings. It tries so hard and it got so far, but in the end...
Is this the right time to be making this?
It doesn't even matter.
R.I.P. Chester Bennington.
It's okay to be a fan of his work.
I bloody loved him.
That's fine.
Second thing.
Second point. It's incredibly ambitious.
Cool.
Obviously made by 3 people. I took a look at it before it came out and was like, I love the idea of that. I'd like to play that and see what I think, but it all falls short. As I said, it's a watered down, diluted version of all the things it wants to be. Some people are going to enjoy it, but for me, it just wasn't quite there.
Dang.
Which is a shame. And thirdly, don't expect this game to fill the void left by Stardew, Harvest Moon, and Zelda, because you will be disappointed, like I was. Very functional game. There's a lot to do, but for me personally, it didn't quite do what I wanted or do what I expected, and that's possibly on me. But reviewing it critically, there are certainly areas where it could do better.
There's not enough to Stardew in this valley biome. I made it work. So that's the review for Yonder and the Crispy Ponder. And
the Cloudcatcher Chronicles.
That's the one. As always, I've been Jules.
I've been Ben.
And this has been the review, so check out What Culture Gaming's articles, things. I could put more effort into this ending.
This is really, this ending was made by 1 person. So, really.
I'll tell you what, you take it away, mate. You've got more energy than I have this morning.
Have I? Okay. Thank you for watching.